An eternal dialogue between the Supreme Being and the human being. The Bhagavad Gita, Topic 1. Why should I study the Gita? Reason 1. Many great people recommend reading, studying, reflecting upon, and practicing the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Adi Shankaracharya said, the Bhagavad Gita is capable of enabling us get all the four goals of our life. It contains the central message of all the Vedic scriptures. Mahatma Gandhi said, the Gita is the universal mother. She turns away nobody. A true votary of the Gita does not know what disappointment is. He ever dwells in the perennial joy that is beyond understanding. But that peace does not come to the skeptic or to him who is proud of his intellect of learning. My life has been full of tragedies, but whenever I am stuck with a tragedy, I rush to Gita, as a child would rush to his mother, and without fail I find a verse there which comforts me and provides me an answer to my problems. Swami Vivekananda said, the teachings of Krishna as taught by Gita are the grandest the world has ever known. He who wrote that beautiful poem was one of those rare souls whose lives sent a wave of regeneration through the world. The human race will never again see such a brain as his who wrote the Gita. Albert Einstein quoted, when I read Bhagavad Gita and reflect on how God created this universe, everything else seems so superfluous. An author, essayist, lecturer, philosopher, Unitarian minister who lectured on theology at Harvard University, Ralph Waldo Emerson quoted, I owed a magnificent day to the Bhagavad Gita. It was the first of books. It was as if an empire spoke to us. Nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent, the voice of an old intelligence which in another age and climate had pondered and thus disposed of the same questions which exercise us. The Bhagavad Gita is an empire of thought. Henry David Thoreau, an American philosopher, Unitarian, social critic, transcendentalist and writer said, in the morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous and cosmogonical philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, since whose composition years of the gods have elapsed, and in the comparison with which our modern world and its literature seem puny and trivial. Robert Oppenheimer said, the Gita is the most philosophical song existing in any known language. Aldous Huxley, an English novelist, essayist, enriched with the West greatly with the wisdom of East, quoted, the Bhagavad Gita is the most systematic statement of spiritual evolution of enduring value to mankind. The Gita is one of the clearest and most comprehensive summaries of the spiritual thoughts ever to have been made. Reason 2. The Bhagavad Gita can help us achieve all the four, especially the two most important goals, dharma and moksha of our lives. Four purposes of our lives, purusharthas. Dharma, virtue, pity, goodness, duty. Arth, acquisition of material possessions. Kam, pleasure including the sexual pleasure. Moksha, liberation from circle of birth and death. Circling 4 times around the fire during the wedding symbolizes that husband and wife will jointly pursue these 4 goals as a pair with God at the center of all their pursuits. As Hanuman said, of what use is this necklace of pearls if it does not have my Ram inside them? Rishi Jayageshavya was a great teacher of yoga several thousand years ago. He was able to remember hundreds of his past life experiences and concluded that true happiness results not from indulging in all kinds of temporary pleasures, but by being a balanced person and by being contented. And even greater happiness is being one with Brahman, the Supreme Being, because that alone brings complete and eternal joy. King Vipashit said, "If the residents of hell get some relief from their pain by my staying here, then I am willing to give up my place in heaven. I wish to stay here and suffer with them as long as they need me." Rishi Yajnavalkya and Rishika Maitre. Wealth can never make us immortal. Ramanujacharya said, "If disobeying my guru saves others, then I am ready to go to hell. But may all these people go to heaven. I am willing to pay the price." Dhanur Das, the wrestler, and his girlfriend married at the command of Ramanujacharya. Both of them became great saints later in their lives. He realized that Bhagwan had more beautiful eyes than his pretty girlfriend. Sant Purandara Das. Money is not everything. He realized that wealth is not even the most important thing in life. Because of his greed, his own father died. He cheated many customers and was almost going to cause his own wife's death. Guru Nanak said, "You cannot take even a small needle with you when you die." According to Sur Das, "Now that I have seen Krishna, nothing more remains to be seen by me. Therefore, please take back my eyesight." Swami Shivanand. He was a successful physician. His own close encounter with death made him realize that life is precious and must not be wasted. He became a great saint and wrote 296 books on Hindu Dharma. According to Swami Chinmayananda, "You are a bigger renouncer than I am. I have renounced this world for the sake of God. But you have renounced God for the sake of this world. You may have gone through the Gita 15 times, but has the Gita gone through you even once?" Relative importance of the four goals of life. Animals cannot think beyond earth and calm. Only humans can pursue dharma and moksha. Dharma is the first and the most important purusharth in this tetrad. Earth and calm should be pursued only in the path of dharma. Practicing dharma makes us eligible to pursue moksha. Hindu believes that dharma is necessary but not sufficient. We must aspire for moksha as well. The first three are goals in our life, whereas the last must be the goal of our life. Unfortunately, practically all of us spend 95% of our time pursuing earth and calm. The Gita helps us correct this imbalance. Sant Eknath said to his erring son-in-law, "Do a favor to my daughter. Explain to her a verse of Gita every night. Then you can go wherever you wish." Within a few days, the son-in-law realized the errors of his ways and he was reformed. Reason 3. The Bhagavad Gita is a short book but contains a summary of all the important teachings of Hindu Dharma for the busy person. The 4G phone, dial Bhagwan. Rishi Vaishampayana said, "Gita, Govinda, Ganga and Gayatri mantra. By keeping these 4Gs in our heart, we overcome the cycle of births and deaths and reach Bhagwan." If you have studied the Gita thoroughly, then what is the need to study other scriptures? The Gita has emerged directly from the lips of Vishnu. Reason 4. The Bhagavad Gita gives a very universal and eternally relevant message. The Gita also teaches about freedom of worship and provides the best solution against racism and prejudice. Its teachings are now spreading all over the world. Yoga, Hindu spirituality. One of the six schools of classical Hindu philosophy, yoga is related to English word yog, meaning to discipline, restrain, control one's mind to unite with the Supreme Being. 25 million Americans practice yogic exercise, asanas, pranayam, breath control, exercises. Asanas are a small portion of Hindu yoga philosophy. The Gita emphasizes a lot on yoga. Spiritual doctrine, karma and rebirth. Found in all ancient cultures, only Hinduism and Buddhism preserve it. Nicene Council banishes it from Christianity in 4th century, rejected by Islam and Judaism. Revival of karma and rebirth doctrines in contemporary West through Hindu Buddhist influence. Almost 25% of Westerners believe in it today. Explained very well in the Gita. What happens when we die? It's only our body that perishes. We all have a soul which transmigrates with our mind and life forces into a new body to take rebirth. Just as our body passes through infancy, youth, and old age, so also our soul passes from one body to another. Just as we discard old clothes and wear new ones, the soul discards an old body to take birth in a new body. Weapons cannot leave the soul, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, and wind cannot dry it. Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2. The philosophy of Nishkam Karma, selfless action. You have control over doing your duty alone, and never on the fruit of your actions. Therefore, do not live or do your duty that is merely motivated by fruits of your actions. And do not let yourself get drawn into the path of non-action. Everyone has a spark of the divine. See the divine in all creatures. The wise see the same, with an equal eye in a learned and humble Brahmin, in a cow, in an elephant, in a dog, and even in a dog-eater. Religious tolerance. Many ways to reach God, freedom of worship. In whatsoever way men approach me, even so do I bless them. For whichever path that men may take in worship, they will all come to me. Reason 5. It offers multiple solutions suited to different types of people. The Gita realizes that one size does not fit all. The spiritual paths to moksha. Karma Yoga, path of action. For people of action and energy, emphasis is on doing one's duties towards family, society, country, etc. in a selfless manner without expectation of reward. Religious rituals are also performed with a sense of duty, but no fruit from God is desired. Bhakti Yoga, path of devotion and faith. For emotional and gentle people, involves doing one's duty and offering the fruits to God. Emphasis on acts of faith, worship, pity, reading scriptures, surrendering oneself to God's will, etc. The spiritual paths to moksha. Jnana Yoga, path of knowledge. For people who are intellectuals and like to learn and discuss philosophy and theology. Emphasis is on acquiring spiritual knowledge, the understanding the nature of the soul, God, and the creation and their interrelationships. One's duties and some rituals are also performed, but no fruit is desired because all happiness and sorrow relate to material bodies, which are perishable and do not pertain to the soul which is eternal. Dhyana Yoga, path of meditation. For introspection reclusive people who prefer to retreat from excessive social interactions, involves constant meditation and related spiritual practices. A popular system is the Eightfold Path taught by sage Patanjali, starting from the good virtues such as ahimsa and ending in samadhi or heightened states of one's consciousness. Reason 6. The Bhagavad Gita does not force you to follow its teachings like scriptures of many other religions. It's confident that you can yourself try them out and become hooked on. There is no compulsion. Arjuna, I have taught you the wisdom that is the greatest of all secrets. Reflect on what I have said deeply, and then do as you please. Conclusion. Are you convinced that the Gita is a scripture that you would like to study, understand, and practice in your life? Krishna, the compassionate. I salute that Madhava, the source of supreme bliss, whose grace makes the dumb eloquent and cripple cross mountains. Krishna, the world teacher. I bow down to Sri Krishna, the Lord, the true teacher of the world, one who is the son of Vasudeva, one who is the destroyer of demons like Kamsa and Chanur, wrong thought and ignorance, and the one who is greatest joy of Devaki, the source of never-ending happiness for the devotees. Shri Krishna Ashtakam, verse 1.